Hello everyone, myself Shruti Kain, working as assistant professor in Government Engineering College, Hassan. I welcome you all to the lecture series on the subject Technical Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship for 5th semester. This video is the part of Learning Management System under the Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. So in the previous lecture series, I have talked about different ways to generate business ideas. Having identified a business idea, you have to find an appropriate business opportunity to convert your idea into reality. So, in this session, I'll go through the definition of business opportunity. Next, we will see the three different approaches to identify business opportunity, and then I'll discuss uh, the different ways to enter into the market for starting up your business. But after identifying the target market and before starting the venture, it is very much essential to have feasibility analysis, which is simply an assessment of the practicality of your proposed plan, which needs to be done. And in this session, we will try to understand what does the term feasibility analysis mean. And at last, we will also see the importance of feasibility study. Now, let us see what is a business opportunity. A business opportunity is a situation or a circumstance the would be entrepreneur seizes to his advantage in order to succeed. Business opportunity happens everywhere around you. Just look around you and see what is missing, what is needed in your immediate environment. For example, having identified the scope for helping and guiding people in boosting their willingness to become healthier, Tushar, who is the owner of Healthifying Me app, introduced this Healthifying Me app in the year 2012, which allows the user to keep track of their diet and exercise regime and also to take advice from experts and to connect other fitness enthusiasts, thus equipping them to maintain a healthy lifestyle. It is said that in February 2020, the company reported that its revenue had reached 100 crores and the active user base doubled to 16 million in a year. So, I can say that business opportunity implies to a set of favorable circumstances in which an entrepreneur can exploit a new business idea that has potential to generate profits. That is, in the example I had taken up in the introduction, Tushar's idea to lose his own weight was encashed by himself. He became aware of how people are health conscious during these days. He used this opportunity or the circumstance which was in his favor by developing a Healthifying Me app to generate profit. Next, let us see the qualities your business idea should own to become a good business opportunity. It should be attractive, which means that the product should be impressive in order to attract customers towards it. The next quality is timeliness. That is, there should be demand for your idea at that point of time. The next quality that your business idea should own is the durability, which means that your product have to be long lasting. Example, health is a major concern for all forever. And at last, but not the least, is the quality of the product or the service, which adds value to its customers. That is, you can take the motivation and the guidance given by the Healthifying Me app to the customers. Uh, Now, let me answer the question, how to identify a business opportunity. A business opportunity can be identified by a process that involves the search for and discovery of business opportunity. The extent and the depth of one's individual social network affects the identification of opportunity. People who build a substantial network of social and professional contacts will be exposed more for such opportunities. Choosing of best opportunities requires intelligence, skill, foresight of entrepreneur. And the three important approaches to identify the business opportunity are, the first one is observing the trends. That is, some of the most important trends to follow are economic trends, which indicates how a region in which you are planning to establish your business is doing financially, which in turn defines interest rates, inflation, taxes, recession, and so on. Because economic risks have potential to impact your business prospects. Next is social trends, which includes the activities in which the society participate, like a gathering, maybe to celebrate something or to work upon something, and so on. Among many technical trends, the most pervasive is probably the use of artificial intelligence, which is nothing but the intelligence exhibited by machines, unlike the natural intelligence displayed by humans and animals. Social media, being a great example for artificial intelligence, has the ability to understand the sort of content a user resonates with and suggests similar content to them. These trends offer many known and unknown challenges and also opportunities. The better you understand the already visible trends and prepare for unexpected events, the more competitive and successful your business will be. The next approach is to recognize and solve a pressing problem that customers are facing today. For example, the countries around the globe are trying to find the alternative for fossil fuels as the cost of carbon dioxide emissions will rise dramatically, which is expected to have direct impact on energy and indirect impacts on all other business in the midterm. And then the next approach is to find the gap between what is needed by the customer and what is actually provided to the customer. For example, over 33 decades, the lack of toy stores focusing on child's intellectual development resulted in the development of Discovery Toys, which is a California based company which is specialized in educational toys. After identifying a business opportunity, creating an effective strategy before entering the new market is very important. Market entering strategy is a tool for uh, getting clarity on what you aim to achieve and how we are going to achieve it while entering a new market. And hence, market entry strategy is defined as a planned distribution and delivery methods of goods and services to a new market. In the import and export services, it refers to creation, establishment, and management of contracts in a foreign country. Before starting a business, choose the best market strategy. Studying data on competitors, the behavior of the target audience in the market, the growth of online market, and ultimately the issuance of analytical data. Conducting market research, understanding how to enter a new market, and how to make competitive analysis, taking into account the customer experience in the business will help you to start a new business or scale the existing one. There are varieties of ways in which a company can enter a foreign market. No one market entry strategy works for all international markets. Direct exporting may be the most appropriate strategy in one market, while in another you may need to set up a joint venture, and in another you may need a licensing for you may need a license for manufacturing. There will be a number of factors that will influence your choice of strategy, including uh, let me list few of the main market entry strategies or market entry options now. And the first among them is direct exporting, which is nothing but selling directly into the market. You have chosen where using, in the first instance, your own resources. Many companies, once they have established a sales program, turn to agents and or distributors to represent them further in that market. Agents and distributors work closely with you in representing your interests. They become the face of your company, and thus it is important that your choice of agents and distributors is handled in much the same way you would hire a key staff person. Next, we have licensing, which is a relatively sophisticated arrangement where a firm transfers the rights to the use of product or service to another firm. It is a particularly useful strategy if the purchaser of the license has relatively large market share in the market you want to enter. Example: Microsoft grants license to individual users, allowing them to use Windows operating system, Windows that is Windows operating system. Another example is a license for licensing is a drug company that owns the patent to create drug or to which owns the patent to certain drug as a licensor grants a license to another drug company as licensee, allowing them to manufacture and sell a drug that utilizes the patented formula. The next approach to enter the market is franchisee, which is a legal relationship where one party, called the franchisor, grants to the other party, called the franchisee, the right to develop, establish, and duplicate the operations of the franchisor's business. There are many examples of franchisee relationships, such as McDonald's, KFC, and so on. Franchising, which is a form of marketing and distribution in which the owner of the business system grants to the individual or group of individuals the right to run a business, selling a product or providing a service using the franchisor's business system. Franchising works well for firms that have a repeatable business model. Example, food outlets. This can be easily transferred into other markets. That can be easily transferred into other markets. Two qualifications or conditions which are required for franchisee model are: the first one is that your business model should either be very unique or should have strong brand recognition that can be utilized internationally. And the second condition which is required for a franchisee model is that you may be creating your future competition in your franchisee. The next approach is partnership, which is a form of business where two or more people share ownership as well as the responsibility for managing the company and the income or losses that the business generates. That is paid to the partners who then claim it on their personal tax returns. The business is not taxed separately as corporations are on its profit or losses. There are three types of partnerships. The first one is general partnership. In general partnership, each partner shares equally in the workload, liability, and profits generated and paid out to the partners. All partners are actively involved in the operations. Here, in case of partnership, general partnership. The second type of partnership is limited partnership, which allows outside investors to buy into a business but maintain limited liability and involvement based on their contributions. This is more complicated form of partnership, which also has more flexibility in terms of ownership and decision making. The last type of partnership is joint venture, wherein short term projects or alliances that bring multiple partners for a project are typically structured as joint ventures. If joint ventures perform well, it can be continued as general partnership. Otherwise, it can be shuttered. Risks and profits are normally shared equally. The best example of joint venture is Sony Ericsson cell phone. The next approach is buying a company. In some markets, buying an existing local company may be the most appropriate entry strategy. This is because the company has substantial market share and may be a direct competitor to you. It is certainly the most costly. co- It, it, sorry, it is certainly costlier, and determining the true value of the firm in the foreign market will require substantial due uh, in diligence too. On the but the positive side of this entry strategy is that immediately it provides you the status of being a local company, and you will receive the benefits of local market knowledge an established customer base and can be treated by the local government as a local firm. The next approach is piggybacking. It is a low cost market entry strategy in which two or more firms represent one another's complementary products in their respective markets. Piggybacking is a particularly unique way of entering the international arena. If you have a particularly interesting and unique product, if you have a particularly interesting and a unique product or service that you sell to large domestic firms that are currently involved in foreign markets, you may want to approach them to see if your product or service can be included in their inventory for international markets. This reduces your risk and costs because you are essentially selling domestically and the large firm is marketing your product or service for you internationally. The next approach is turnkey projects. Sorry. The next approach is turnkey projects, which is particular to companies that provide services such as environmental consulting, architecture, construction, and engineering. A turnkey project is where the facility is built from the ground up and turned over to the client ready to go. The that is turn the key and the plant is operational. This is a very good way of entering foreign markets as the client is normally a government and often the project is being financed by an international financial agency such as the World Bank. So the risk of not being paid is eliminated. And the last approach I'll be discussing is greenfield investments, which is a type of foreign direct investment in which a parent company creates a subsidiary in a different country, building its operations from the ground up. In addition to the construction of new production facilities, these projects can also include the building of new distribution hubs, offices, and living quarters. In foreign direct investment, the foreign company is directly involved with day to day operations of the business based on the other country. After analyzing the market entry strategies and before actually starting the new venture, it is very important to have feasibility analysis of the project done because it takes all of the project's relevant factors into account, including finance, social, location, technical considerations to ascertain the likelihood of completing the project successfully. Project managers use feasibility analysis to identify the pros and cons of undertaking a project before they invest a lot of time and money into it. Feasibility studies also can provide a company's management with crucial information uh, that could prevent the company from entering blindly into risky business. In simple words, feasibility study of a project helps to answer um, the questions such as whether to go forward with the business idea or not. So it is an assessment of The practicality of the proposed plan or project. A feasibility study is simply an assessment of practicality of a proposed plan or project. These studies ask the questions such as: is this project feasible? Do we have people, tools, technology, and resources necessary for this project to succeed? Will the project get us the return on investment that we need or expect? And so on. Coming to the goals of feasibility studies, it helps to understand thoroughly all aspects of a project or concept or a plan. To become aware of any potential problem that could occur while implementing the project, and also to determine if, after considering all significant factors, the project is viable, that is it worth undertaking? Feasibility. Next, we'll see the importance of feasibility studies. It's very important in the business development because they can allow a business to address where and how it operates, where and how it can be operated. They can also identify potential obstacles that may impede its operations, and also to recognize the amount of funding it will need to get the business up and running. Feasibility studies aim for marketing strategies that could help convince the investors or banks that invest in a particular project, or like it will help the investors uh, to know whether it's a wise choice to invest in that particular project or not. It is an analysis which takes all of the project's relevant factors into account, including its economic, financial, social, location. All these factors are considered into account to ascertain the likelihood of completing the project successfully. It also provides a company's management with crucial information that could prevent the company from entering blindly into a risky business. Now I'll discuss some multiple choice questions on the topics which I've covered in this session. And the first question is: Dash is the process of determining an event idea is viable. It is the primary evaluation of the business. Options are: option A, feasibility analysis; option B, business plan; option C, Harvard plan; option D, none of them. And the correct answer is option A, feasibility analysis. Because feasibility analysis is a process for which determines whether the event or an idea is viable or not. Next question: which of the following is not the expectation of a feasible or viable event idea? Options are: option A, withstand the risk it will encounter; option B, generate adequate cash flow; option C, meet the goals of the founders; option D, remain viable for short period. And the correct answer is option D. That is, uh, it is not the expectation of a feasibility analysis that the business idea could remain only for a short period, or remain viable for only a short period. The most important parts of a feasibility report are: option A, cost benefit analysis; option B, statement of the objective of the proposed system; option C, who will supply equipment or implanting the system; for implanting the system. Option D, organizational changes needed to successfully implement the system. And sorry, these are the, and you know that the important parts of feasibility report are cost benefit analysis and the statement of objective of the proposed plan, that is what is the objective of the proposed plan, and organizational changes needed to be successfully need to successfully implement the system are all the important parts of feasibility report. So the correct answer you have to choose is this one. Next question. At the end of the feasibility study, the system analyst options are meets the user for a discussion. Option B gives a summary uh, of feasibility report to the manager. Option C gives a systems proposal to the management. Option D tells the top management if the system is not feasible. And the correct answer is the system feasibility study uh, gives a summary of feasibility report to the management. And the fifth question is, a solution is said to be feasible for implementation if the options are, if it is cost effective and finance is available to meet it. Option B, technology is available to meet it, implement it. Option C, it can be adapted to work in an organization's environment. Option D, it has been implemented in other organizations. And the correct answer is option option A, B, and C are all the correct answers for this question. That is, a solution is said to be feasible if it is cost effective and also there is finance available to implement it, and also the technology should be available to implement it, and also it is necessary that it can be adapted in the organization's environment. It is not necessary that it has been implemented in other organization. So this is the correct answer. The next question is, during feasibility analysis, it is necessary to examine several alternative solutions because option A comparison of alternatives will lead to a cost-effective solution. Option B, a pre-conceived single solution may turn out to be unimplementable. Option C, it is always good to examine alternatives. Option D, management normally looks at alternatives. And the correct answer is both option A and option B together, because uh, it is important to examine several alternatives during feasibility analysis, because comparison of alternatives will give you the information on the cost effective solution, and also a preconceived single solution may not be able, like, cannot be implemented too. So both answer options A and B together forms the answer for this question. Next question. Which of the following is not the purpose of feasibility study? Options are: option A, provide quality information for decision. Option B, establish market trends. Option C, give focus to project and outlines alternatives. Option D, specify business alternatives. And the correct answer is uh, establish market trends. That is the purpose. It's not the purpose of feasibility study to establish market trends. It actually provides quality information for decision making, and also provides different alternatives, and will focus on more alternatives. Next question. In testing the feasibility of products or services, one of the questions related to the product or service that should be asked is option A, will the venture make or buy what it wants to sell? Option B, can suitable personnel be recruited? Option C, does the uh, entrepreneur know how to sell the product or service? Option D, does the entrepreneur understand the market? And the correct answer is option B. So, in testing the feasibility of a product or service, one of the question which should be asked is it like, can a suitable person be recruited for that purpose? Is one of the question which needs to be answered. So you can refer the mentioned book for this module, and that's the end of this session. I thank you all.